Srila Prabhupada. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So welcome everyone to our ongoing study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And today we're on Canto number 9. And we're looking at chapter number 15, entitled Parasurama, the Lord's Warrior Incarnation. Just before we go on, yesterday we spoke about, well, who remembers? What were we speaking about yesterday? We were hearing about
Urvashi Pururava Maharaj.
Yes, Pururava, right. Pururava, and how he became involved with the heavenly lady Urvasi. So, what was the significance of that pastime? What did we learn from it? Yes? Probably the brahmacharis would learn something more than maybe the other people.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So we saw how Maharaj Pururava, because he was so much in desire for being with Urvashi, because of that he had to go through so much difficulty. And ultimately Urvashi leaves him and goes, and at that time he becomes very lost, and she advises him that it's not good for a man to become too much involved with a woman. So,
who advised him like that?
Urvashi herself advised him.
Urvasi herself had advised him to be careful of the nature of a woman. Yes, especially a very beautiful woman. Sometimes it's said that the beautiful, if the man thinks his wife is very beautiful, then it can be a big problem. You become very much attached. And Srila Prabhupada also told us how he did not like his wife. His marriage was arranged by his father, and he told his father, I don't like this girl very much. But his father then told him, well, that's good that you don't like her. If you like her too much, then it will rob you of your intelligence. You become infatuated by the beauty of the opposite sex. And so it certainly happened to Pururava, that he became too much affected because of his sensual desires. So, what was the significance of this? How come it's all told in Srimad Bhagavatam? What was the significance of recounting this event in the Srimad Bhagavatam? Anyone like to guide us? Yes?
This is Murti Sri Hare Krishna Maharaj. In spite of having so much beautiful wife, so much wanted, like that people wants the beauty of the heaven, that he went back, he became Krishna conscious. And he wanted love of Godhead. That was more precious than the beauty of heaven.
Who wanted love of Godhead?
Pururva.
When? When he went to heaven, he was attracted to develop love of God? When did this happen? We never heard that yesterday, did we, about him wanting to develop love of God? Certainly it will come up in the 11th canto, in the Ila Gita.
Ila Gita, Ila Gita.
Yes, Ila Gita's there, yeah. Yeah, he's a very different person there in the Ila Gita. I'm hearing from him. Anyway, what is the significance at this point? In the 9th canto. How does Sukadeva Goswami relate it?
He's not satisfied. That is it. He's, in spite of having so much attachment to that heavenly woman, he is not satisfied.
Yes, there's a lot about lust there, but wasn't there any other significance in narrating this pastime?
Maharaj, can I say something?
Yes.
Actually, if you see in the next chapter, we see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parashurama, is going to be born in this family. So that's why he is talking about his lineage. So that's why he brought this about.
Okay, yes, we're hearing about the descendants coming from the moon god, right? From Soma.
Yeah.
So
Dynasty. Moon dynasty coming.
Pururava is born in that line. But in the final text of the chapter, it talks about Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami speaking to Maharaj Parikshit, and he describes about the beginning of the Treta Yuga and how King Pururava inaugurated a karma kanda sacrifice. Thus Pururava, who considered the yagnic fire his son, was able to go to Gandharva Loka as he desired. So then Srila Prabhupada talks about how in Satya Yuga the process was meditation, Krite Yadhayato Vishnu, but then Treta Yam Yajato Mukai. And the Treta Yuga, the process is yagna. So Pururava, he utilized the yagna to go to the heavenly planets. Treta Yuga, beginning in the Swayambhuva Manvantara, ritualistic fruitive activities were similarly manifested from Priyavrata, etc. So anyway, they're introducing the end of the Satya Yuga, the beginning of the Treta Yuga, and a new process for self-realization. So we'll go ahead and let's see what happens now with chapter 15. We're going to hear about Parasurama. So we have the history. First of all, from the womb of Urvasi, there were 6 sons, and then so many other line of different great souls all came. And one of them was Janu Muni. Here in Mayapur, we have Janu Dweep, Navadweep. It's made up of the 9 islands, and Janu Dweep is one of the islands. So Janu Muni's ashram was here in Mayapur, and it was in Navadweep. And it was there that Janu Muni drank all the water of the Ganges in one sip. So then the water came out from his knee. So Janu, from the Janu, the water came out. It was Bhagirath had brought down the Ganga from the heavenly planets and come down to earth, and he wants to liberate the sons of Maharaj Sagar. But then all of a sudden the water was drank by Janu, and Bhagirath has to come and beg Janu Muni, please, we need this Ganga water. We have to free the sons of Sagar from their sinful reactions. So Janu Muni is mentioned, and then goes on, and then we hear about King Gadi, and he has a daughter named Satyavati. And this Brahmana Richika wants to marry her. But he got in, it wasn't so easy thing for him. He asked King Gada to give his daughter, but the king said, oh, we're high class. He said, my daughter's, she cannot just marry anybody. You want to marry her, you have to give dowry for my daughter. You know, sometimes we see, to get the daughter married, you have to give a dowry. But here, if you want to marry the girl, you have to give a dowry. So, the dowry which he asked for was no ordinary thing. 1,000 horses, each having one black ear, and they should be as brilliant as moonshine. So, the rishi was powerful, Richika. He was a powerful guy, and he went to see Varuna, and he got the horses from him. So this Gadi, he has a daughter Satyavati, and he also has a son who's Vishwamitra. So we're going to hear first about Parasuram. Parasuram is born in a Brahmana family, but he becomes a Kshatriya and goes out and fights and kills the Kshatriya dynasties 21 times. And in contrast to Parasuram, who's a Brahmana and become a Kshatriya, you have Vishwamitra, who's a Kshatriya and became a Brahmana. He became not just an ordinary Brahmana, but he became a Brahmarshi. He became a saintly Brahmana, the very topmost Brahmana. So this is all told in this chapter. We're going to, well, not only this chapter, next chapter also. Here, this chapter, we're going to hear about Parasurama. And so Parasurama, before Parasuram, we're hearing about this Richika and Satyavati. And so Richika gets the horses from Varuna, and he brings them, and then he gets married to Satyavati. And then there's another problem, right? You get married, don't think all the problems are over, right? Problems are just beginning, usually. So it happened, Richika, his wife and mother-in-law means who's that? Who's the wife? Satyavati, and her mother, meaning the wife of Gadi, they both want a son. So Richika is a powerful yogi, and he preparation, one for the wife and one for the mother-in-law. The wife was supposed to get a Brahmana mantra. Because he's a Brahmana, the Muni, and he wants to have a Brahmana son. And the mother-in-law, she's a Kshatriya, wife of a Kshatriya. So he prepared the Kshatriya mantra for her. But then the problem was, the mother-in-law became worried that she wasn't going to get a good preparation. She thought, oh, that Muni, he'll be more attached to his wife. He won't give a good preparation for me. So she asked her daughter to give that oblation. So Satyavati gave her oblation to her mother, and she ate the mother's oblation. So that created the problem, the mixing of the oblations. And when Richika came back, then he was upset, and he said, oh, this is going to be a big problem. He said, you've taken the wrong oblations. And he tells Satyavati, your son will not be a Brahmana, instead he will be a fierce Kshatriya, and he'll be able to punish everyone. And for your mother, your mother, she will have a son who will be a learned scholar in spiritual science. So Satyavati was naturally upset by this, but she was very expert, and she was able to pacify her husband, and she pleaded with him for some special mercy, that can you please arrange that it won't be like this. Better I should have a son. Better I should have a son who's a Brahmana. The Brahmana has a son, you expect the son to be also a Brahmana. But if the son is a fierce Kshatriya, then it's certainly unexpected. The son of a Brahmana does not become like if the son of a Brahmana doesn't become like a Brahmana, then he will either be a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Sudra, according to qualification. So this is the basic principle of dividing society, not by birth, but by qualities and actions. Varnashram is a very scientific system for arranging the organization of society. But of course it's become corrupted and no longer applicable in this Kali Yuga. As we say, in the Kali Yuga, everyone is a Sudra or lower by birth. But people claim birthright, they claim to be Brahmanas, other people claim to be Kshatriya. So developing these qualifications, well, not developing these qualifications, but we do quote Sanatana Goswami, who says that, well, anybody can become a Brahmana if they're properly initiated and trained by a bona fide spiritual master. So if anyone can become a Brahmana, people would say that there's no meaning to being Brahmana. Everyone's a Brahmana. If everyone can become a Brahmana, then it doesn't have any meaning to be a Brahmana, does it? How can we defend the system of Varnashram, because this is the system given to us by Lord Sri Krishna, that he arranged this division of the society according to guna and karma. And if we say, well, anyone can become a Brahmana, they just have to be trained and initiated, then we could say then everyone can become a Brahmana. Then there's no meaning to being Brahmana anymore.
Maharaj,
Yeah?
I mean, these things are easier said than done. I mean, ISKCON's 50 plus years of experience has shown that regardless of, like, ISKCON tries to provide equal training to everybody, but not everybody can take to it.
Right.
So, like, we can be very fair in terms of equal and fair and just in terms of giving such training to everybody, with the hope that a minuscule percentage will actually take to those traits of the Brahmana and, like, develop those qualities. So, while everybody can become a Vaishnava by the dint of initiation and by worshipping Vishnu, but when you're talking about the qualities of the Brahmana, not everybody, like, measures up to that. That's I think, like, 60 plus years of ISKCON's existence has shown.
Well, you said Vaishnava. So we understand a Vaishnava to be more than a Brahmana. Isn't it true
Yes.
that Vaishnava is
Yes,
the topmost Brahmin?
Yes, but that includes it. It's like that includes it, but, like, like, because it's a process. It's a process, like, because on the lower end, as Mahaprabhu says, anybody who chants the name of Krishna is a Vaishnava. So, but on the lower end, that's like a Kanishta Adhikari. You do not expect Kanishta Adhikaris to have the qualities of a Brahmana. So they are learning. So that is there, or maybe even a Prakrita Bhakta. So that's why we have this, like, why do we have a second initiation and a first initiation? We don't push first initiated devotees inside the altar. So he is not yet qualified to handle the deities. So it is a process. So while, like mango is a mango, it's like a yellow mango or the green mango is a mango, but we are looking for the yellow mangoes. So that's Vaishnava. And we're talking about the Brahmanika, the qualities of a Brahmana. That's like Satya, Shaucha, Daya, Tapa. It's like some people manifest them while others do not manifest them. That's what
Yes. I'm just wondering, because you say becoming devotee, anyone can become a devotee. So what is their position?
Maharaj, as I understand, the position of a devotee is transcending any of the Varna and the Ashrama. That's what Mahaprabhu says, Naham Vipranacha Narapati Napi Vaishna Shudra. So then it's like, this is like an occupation, like when we're talking about the Varna or the Ashrama, it's like a Varna is the occupation and the Ashrama is the social position. So, spiritual position, social spiritual position. So it's like it can vary from, like, person to person, but everybody can chant the names of Vishnu, everybody can take to Krishna consciousness. That is everyone's birthright to become Krishna conscious, because all the jivas have an eternal relationship with Krishna anyways. So also, like, it's not like otherwise, like, if we turn it around and make Varnashrama as a precondition to being a devotee, maybe then we are entering into a bigger problem. That you go first and acquire the qualities of any of the Varna and the Ashram and then come to us. So it was never the case, as we understand, like when I think you yourself quoted that pastime of that Jabal Satyakam, where the rishi, like he said, the boy comes and he says that, okay, like, who is your father? He said, I asked my mother, I don't know, like she doesn't know his father. And by that quality, he came to the conclusion that, okay, fine, you are a Brahmana. So I think I'll accept you. So the idea is submission to the spiritual master brings all the other good qualities.
Uh-huh.
Bhakti
One,
comes first.
one of the issues which comes up sometimes in the temple is, we, as you said, we have to be twice initiated to go on the altar and serve the deities. So some people feel that this is discrimination, that everyone should be allowed the chance to go on the altar and to worship the deity, touch the deity. Right?
Yes, Maharaj, I mean, like yes, I do concede that. But at the same time, we can turn that question around and ask them, like, okay, do you want your father to be taken care of? Like, if my father is like kind of needs to be taken care of, a mother needs to be taken care of. So I would be deploying the best person I can get. Not a man of this from the street, okay, you can come and you can take care of my father and I'm gonna have fun. So it's the same thing. If God is our supreme father, Krishna is, we are servants of God, he is our master. So we would want the best person to take care of Krishna, not the rejected material, like the social rejects or somebody who is like otherwise lazies and crazies. They come and they take care of the Krishna. That's, I think.
Yeah, very nice answer. Thank you. Very good.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, this principle of dividing society, Srila Prabhupada said, we cannot expect to reintroduce it into the society, but he gave the example, he said, just like in the universities they have departments studying dead languages like Greek and Latin. Nobody's speaking these languages. It's not going to be reintroduced. But he said they keep them there in the university for the sake of, studying these. And he said the same way, he said, we should show in our Krishna conscious community, we should also have some semblance of varnashram, the division of society, recognizing that there are these different divisions in the society. Somebody is more Brahminically inclined. He likes to worship the deity or study the scriptures. And he has qualities, as Prabhu was saying, like truthfulness, which is one of the important qualities for a Brahmana. Another important quality for the Brahmana is cleanliness. And we see in the Gurukula, for example, in Mayapur, they do try to imbibe that quality of cleanliness among all the students there. They put a lot of importance on the standard of cleanliness. Regular bathing and washing the floor and everything, washing after you eat and washing your hands and feet and mouth and these different things. These are part of the principles of cleanliness. It's surprising, of course, nowadays, and definitely in countries like Europe, in the wintertime, it's, people not much inclined to bathe, and the standards of cleanliness, they really slump. People don't have a lot of regard for that, even though they're born in maybe a good family, maybe cultured family, but as far as cleanliness goes, their standards can really decline when they're in that Western atmosphere, or in the winter time. Of course, even in India, it can be very cold in the winter time. But a Brahmana will still bathe. They must keep the quality. They will take the trouble to bathe. And Prabhupada said, it's just like cooking. In the summer, it's not easy to go in the kitchen and cook, but people will do it. So similarly, also bathing. It's a very important quality. But Kali Yuga, people are lazy. They just have that nature to be lazy. And well, of course, sometimes they have a good reason for not bathing. The water is freezing cold. Sometimes, the water is like ice and they have to melt the ice just to get some water to bathe. So, of course, these are problems, and these problems, they have to be addressed in order to encourage people to keep standards of cleanliness. We do have to make arrangements for these things so that people can bathe regularly. But we can also say, well, you can bathe in the holy name, right? Kali Yuga, we can chant Hare Krishna and bathe in the holy name. So in this way, you can keep Brahminical qualities. Kshatriya qualities, what should be the essential quality for a Kshatriya? He's meant to give protection to others. So he should be concerned about caring and protecting people from dacoits and from unjust situations. The Kshatriya should be very fair. It says, if his own son is wrong, he will punish his own son. And if his enemy's son is right, he will reward his enemy's son. So that quality of justice and fairness should be there. Kshatriya should be concerned to see that justice is upheld. So taking care of others. Generally, Kshatriya should be courageous. Prabhupada talks how the Kshatriya will die on the battlefield. He cannot retreat. He cannot be killed on his back. He has to go forward. So that is the Kshatriya mood. Another quality of a Kshatriya, he has that Ishvara Bhav. He has that power to control, to give orders and to direct others. It's described how Lord Krishna had gone with Arjuna and Bhima to meet Jarasandha because they wanted actually to have a fight with Jarasandha. So Lord Krishna, along with Bhima and Arjuna, they disguised themselves as brahmanas and they went to see Jarasandha, knowing that Jarasandha will give charity to them. And so Jarasandha saw that, oh, these are brahmanas, and he brought them in. But when he heard them talk, he could understand that these are not really brahmanas because they speak with so much authority. They have that power, they have that Ishvara Bhav. And so some people have that character, they have that ability they're very expert in controlling and getting things done. So that's the business of the Kshatriya, really. So society has to be divided in that way, according to the nature. You've got the Vaishya tendency. Vaishyas, they like to do business. Wherever they go, they're thinking, oh, I'll sell this and I'll buy that and I'll make money. And the Sudra, his nature is to be told what to do. He has to be told everything. Prabhupada said, actually, Sudras, they don't need to be given money, just give them food and give them clothing and shelter, and they should be happy. They should be satisfied. But the problem is if you give them money, then they will misuse it. And we see it happen that people start taking alcohol and then drug addiction, and sometimes even going to prostitute and doing all kinds of sinful activities, so wasting their hard-earned money. And so people with that kind of nature, better not to give them money, better just to provide them with the the things which they need, which are essential. So it's an ideal system of dividing society. And of course, Western people, people from outside the Vedic culture, they're not familiar with it. They never heard about it. But if it's properly explained, it's very nice. Of course, Buddhism came out, and the Buddhists often claim this was a reaction to this varnashram system. They didn't want this varnashram. And Lord Buddha came and he taught everybody's equal. So this, of course, it was like a revolution against the social system. Lord Buddha came to break that social organization because it was being abused, because of the corruption and the degradation in the system. So Lord Buddha led the people away. He said, just follow me, everybody's equal. So you have these things, you get these people, we're all equal, it's all one, everybody's the same. And there's no brahmana, there's no organization anymore. That's the problem. No proper organization. Okay, any comments or questions on this? The varnashram? Okay, then we'll go ahead. All right, so Satyavati gets, she's able to pacify her husband, and she gets a little concession, and he tells her, your grandson will be of a Kshatriya spirit. So it happens, Satyavati has a son who's Jamadagni. He's the son of Satyavati. And Jamadagni, he's going to be the father of Parasuram. So, Satyavati, Bhargava. So, Satyavati has a son called Jamadagni. Jamadagni is married to Renuka, and there they have several children, and the youngest of the sons was Parasuram. And Parasuram is described here as an incarnation of Vasudeva, and he's going to perform very unique tasks. It's described here in text 15 how the royal dynasty, being excessively proud because of the material modes of passion and ignorance, they became irreligious and ceased to care for the laws enacted by the Brahmanas. So at this particular time, the problem is coming from the Kshatriyas. The Brahmanas apparently are still God-conscious, religious people, and they're giving good instruction and guidance, but the kings are not caring for the instruction. The kings, because of their pride, are influenced by Rajas and Tamas, and they become very offensive. Well, actually it says their offense was not very severe. Although their offense was not very severe, he killed them to lessen the burden of the world. So in this, the different kings, to lessen the burden of the world, the burden of the world. Of course, we hear about this, and 5,000 years ago, with the appearance of Lord Krishna, Mother Earth is overburdened by the Kshatriya kings. So similarly also, before the appearance of Lord Krishna, Parasurama is there. Parasurama is born in the Brahmana family, But the problem is the kings, and the kings are full of rajas and tamas, and they're irreligious, and they don't follow any of the brahmanas' teachings. So what can be done when people are influenced by rajas and tamas? How can we help them? Is there any method? What is the process to try to bring these kings to proper condition to cultivate the mode of goodness? Because they are Kshatriyas, so they're expected to be in the mode of passion. Isn't it? In order to be a Kshatriya king, they have to be bold, they have to be courageous, they have to be influenced by the mode of passion. So can we blame them? Prabhu, what do you say? What is the problem?
Maharaj, we need all kind of modes in the society to maintain the society. But for Krishna consciousness, they have to come to the mode of goodness when they're practicing Krishna consciousness. Because if they're not angry, how will they fight? So they need qualities for service. It is not that, that has not to be, there's no existence of that quality or there's no use. So just for service, they do need it. And then for practicing Krishna consciousness, I don't know how they do it, split like that. But then once somebody is in the mode of goodness, they can practice easily. But doesn't mean that Rajasic devotees are not, passionate bhakti is also there. And if they keep doubting it, then they, they attract Krishna's mercy because they're doing service.
What service are they doing?
No, to protect the society, to
as
keep the
kings.
society in proper order.
I see, yes. Okay.
Maharaj,
Yes?
I'm reminded of a few cases, like from Bhagavatam. And from there, I think the principle which is drawn, either we take the case of Dhruva Maharaj, when he really got angry with the Yakshas. Yeah, or say, for example, we take the case of Prithu Maharaj, when he is momentarily like kind of, it's not Prithu, it's, the father of Agnida. That was Priyavrata. So Priyavrata, momentarily coming under the sway of lust, and a result is Agnida being born. Or like there's like so many these cases where we see there is a momentarily the devotee comes under the sway of a particular mode of material nature. But the greatness of the devotee lies in like how soon can he retract it. So that the difference here is like one is in the mode of material nature, and another is like he is influenced by the mode of material, but he can immediately retract it. And that's what makes those devotees great, and that's why they are there in the pages of Bhagavatam. There are other devotees who stay in the mode of material nature are reading the Bhagavatam. So that's what I think. So that is the difference. So there is the mode of material nature. There's no denying the fact. But how soon and how quickly can you retract that? So that's it. Like say, for example, Arjuna coming into that different mode, or Hanuman coming to that mode, but then right after the services, they are reinstated back to that. And as Mataji said, if the service requires a particular quality, that quality will be engaged in the service of Krishna. So that doesn't exactly affect the authenticity or the credibility of the devotee. That's what I.
So how does it apply in today's situation, in dealing, for example, in our ISKCON community? Somebody is maybe a manager and maybe.
Yes, Maharaj, these are like, that's why I understand like then we are entering into a zone I do not know whether how much qualified I am to speak, but my observation 25 years, that's like to say that when we put Kanishta Adhikaris in the position of manager, or better yet, in the position as a preacher, that's when all the problems, like all the hell break loose. Because according to Bhagavatam, the Madhyam Adhikari should be preaching. But there is no denying the fact that a very large percentage of the preachers we have in ISKCON do not actually meet that mark. So when I am doing the service, which is apportioned for a person of a higher degree, so there will be mistakes, there will be problems, and these lower modes then come up. When the preacher tries to control people, the lower modes come up. The people resist being controlled, the lower modes come up. The manager tries to control people when he himself is is not so much evolved, these kind of problems come up. It's just like when the manager becomes a damager, the preacher becomes a cheater, and the leader becomes the dealer.
What was that
That's
again?
what I can say.
The manager
I'm
becomes
just saying.
a
I'm
damager.
just saying it's like extempore kind of thing. Please don't take it on. Yeah. Don't quote me on that, Maharaj.
Some good lines there, yeah. Yes, it certainly, affects, and we come to the Krishna consciousness movement, and immediately we're put into the front lines, and you may be given a book bag and you go out preaching, or you have to go out and raise funds or something, bring some checks, and we may not be so qualified. I remember joining the Krishna consciousness movement, that the temple president was about 18 years old, and he wasn't able to read so well even, but he was a very enthusiastic person, and his kirtan was very inspiring. So, and he was put in the position for some time. It was time and circumstances, there was nobody else. And he was ready and willing. And later on, somebody else came more qualified, and he was happy to pass over the responsibility to somebody else and let them take over. So certainly, the system of organizing society, it's a challenge, and not all of us are up to the mark, and it's an emergency. Prabhupada also sometimes would say, and in the times of emergency, then these things happen. Just like in times of war, they'll put women and children also out to fight, and they'll give them guns and bombs and stuff and go out. And so like this, where it's an emergency time, and the brahmanas, the so-called learned people who are actually qualified, they're not coming forward. And you need people, you need to have to do something, just like Srila Prabhupada was trying to do something initially in India. He would ask people, give me your son, I'll take him with me, preach the Bhagavad Gita. And of course, nobody wanted to give their son. And everyone said, no, Swamiji, my son, he will become a doctor, or he will become the engineer, or whatever. So Prabhupada had to go to the West, and he had to recruit people like me and others, coming from Western society with no cultural background. And he had to just put us in there. And then similarly coming to India to begin the Krishna consciousness movement in India, people didn't want to join, but Prabhupada brought all the Westerners there. And when people saw the Westerners, then it had a good effect on them, and they began to take Krishna consciousness a little more seriously. And it took some time, but gradually over the years, we're seeing how gradually the Indian people are also coming and taking up Krishna consciousness movement. You know, you could say, you know, the Westerners came there in the beginning, you know, we just came and put the foundation, and then the local people, the local people come and take it up, and then the Krishna consciousness movement really starts to develop. One of my godbrothers came, he had been in India in the 1970s with Srila Prabhupada, and he'd served in India then and did a lot of pioneering. And he came back to India recently, and he went around India, and he said, "Boy," he said, "this is a success story." He said, "This is a success story." He said, "It's amazing." He said, "So many temples, nice temples, so many big congregations here and there, wonderful." He was amazed, you know, so it happens, you know, Krishna has a plan. We just have to be patient and just wait and see, you know. And of course, in the beginning, a lot of things were wrong. We didn't have qualifications, but somehow gradually things are coming along and improving gradually. And I think certainly Srila Prabhupada would be very pleased to see the situation today. At least in India, that, you know, a lot of preaching is going on, a lot of beautiful temples and many devotees. But I'm sure Prabhupada would also be pushing more, you know, that we have to preach everywhere, we have to go all over the world. And he would be happy to see in India that at least so many nice things are going on. And he would like to see also that it goes on everywhere. So, yeah, the Varnashram system, it's there, you know, the foundations are there. And it's an ideal system. Times of Buddhism, came, it was a revolt against the caste system because it had become degraded.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, Prabhu.
I have a question. Maharaj, just now we spoke how Kshatriya should have the mode of passion to rule. But we also saw that the example of rulers like Ramachandra, Yudhishthira, Parikshit, they were pure devotee. Lord Ramachandra was Lord. But definitely we wouldn't say they have passion. They were in Sattvic, I mean, at least the Sattva, but they were a good ruler, Maharaj. So how we can understand that passion never overtake them, even though they were Kshatriyas?
Well, they utilized the passion in their service to the Supreme Lord. It's not that they were controlled by passion, but they controlled the passion. They were able to use it successfully in their position as kings. That they knew when to use the passion, and they could immediately also control it and bring it and check it. They didn't get carried away with it. The problem is that people become overpowered by the passion. The passion becomes a controlling force. It has to be kept in check. Right? So that's how I see it. That we have to use everything. It's a quality. It was given to us, so it has to be used. It has to be used in Krishna's service. But we shouldn't be controlled by it. The passion can be used, and then we should come back to the mode of goodness. The problem comes that when the passion is not controlled, we degrade to the mode of ignorance. So from passion, we should come up to the mode of goodness.
So Maharaj, won't it be good that, those who are too passionate, they always stay constantly in touch with the Brahmanas so that they are guided? Because it's very difficult to switch that mode. So like Dhruva Maharaj, when he was killing the Yakshas, the seniors came and they guided him that, enough of all this killing and all. And they're if they're trained properly, because, we know that we are having certain weaknesses. So if we are obedient to our seniors, like many of the devotees have their own Shiksha gurus and all, or their spiritual master, if they are under guidance, it will be easier for them to dovetail as well as switch when it is needed.
Well, exactly. That is the idea of the Varnashram, that the Kshatriyas are meant to be under the instruction of the Brahmanas. Not that they just act independently. The failure of the Varnashram system came when the Kshatriya kings no longer listened to the Brahmanas.
Right.
And they took, the kings became the authority instead of the Brahmanas. But the actual social system is that the Brahmanas they're the representative of the Lord. Krishna himself, Lord Krishna himself says, Namo Brahmana Devaya, Go Brahmana. He's offering his respects to the Brahmanas. Lord Krishna worshipped the Brahmanas. So the Brahmanas are the representatives of God. And of course, we're not talking about just any Brahmana, but those Brahmanas who are actually Brahmins, who are actually realizing the Brahman, who are connected to the Lord in the proper mood of devotion and like that, then they're the ones who are meant to guide the Kshatriyas, and the Kshatriyas are meant to respect and honor them. And everything belongs to the Brahmanas. We say everything belongs to Krishna, but actually we learn Lord Krishna gives everything to the Brahmanas.
Yes, Maharaj.
But we have to have where are the Brahmanas? This is the problem. It's the emergency, the emergency, no Brahmanas, right? There are no Brahman and there are no Kshatriyas also. There are no proper Kshatriyas. People are not so bold or so courageous. Nobody wants to go to war. Everyone will run away. And even when there's a war, innocent women and children are the ones suffering. Okay. So the burden of the world, this was the problem, and it should be annihilated. So Prabhupada talks about the history of the world and different monarchies and how there's a need to be guided by Brahmanas, or at least God-conscious man. And when the ruling class is degraded to the modes of passion and ignorance, then the Brahmanas, headed by such a Kshatriya-spirited Brahmana as Parasuram, killed them 21 consecutive times. So we'll hear about this. Let's take a break for now, and we'll come back in 10 minutes. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, sorry, Maharaj,
Yes?
just a question. Maharaj, here mentioned Parasuram killed 21 times. Does that mean that he killed 21 generations? What do you mean by that, Maharaj?
Yes, it means he killed 21 all of the Kshatriya, he killed them. And then it came, it came back again, killed them all again. Then again, as I understand
So
it.
21 generations, Maharaj.
Yes,
Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
that's how it's explained. All right. So we'll come back in 10 minutes. You can have a break. Hare Krishna. So welcome back, everyone. All right, so is everyone there? Yeah? Yeah, okay. I think everyone's there. So Prabhupada talks about third class and fourth class men. So Kali Yuga in force and many plunderers. Unclean people posing as members of the government will swallow the citizens. So Srimad Bhagavatam has a lot to say about these things, of course. Predicting the future as Kali Yuga progresses, how it will become more and more problematic. Anyway, we're discussing the situation. Lord Parasuram appearing, and we want to hear a little bit about this incarnation of the Lord. So Maharaj Parikshit is shocked to hear how the Lord could annihilate the Kshatriya dynasty again and again, and he's interested to know more about this. So how did it happen? So Sukadeva Goswami is explaining how there was this one personality, Kartavirya Arjun, described as the best of the Kshatriyas. He was the king of the high Hayas, and he received 1,000 arms by worshipping Dattatreya. He also became undefeatable by enemies and received unobstructed sensory power, beauty, influence, strength, fame, and the mystic power by which to achieve all the perfections of yoga, such as anima and lagima. So he roamed all over the universe without opposition, just like the wind. And so he was very, very powerful, and here in this chapter they describe how at one point he'd stopped the flow of the Narmada river, and it flooded the ashram of Ravana, and Ravana had a camp nearby, and Ravana became very angry, and he came to protest, but Kartavirya Arjun just arrested him. He could do nothing. He was powerless against Kartavirya Arjun. And Kartavirya Arjun took him and put him put him in custody in his capital. So Ravana was very powerful. He had worshipped Shiva and he had benedictions from Shiva, but he was nothing compared to Kartavirya Arjun. So we can understand what kind of personality this Kartavirya Arjun was. And he was walking in the forest, and he approached the residence of Jamadagni. And approaching the residence of Jamadagni, Jamadagni is a great sage, and he naturally respects the visitors coming to his ashram, especially a king, King Kartavirya Arjuna. So he gives him respect. And not only does he respect the king, but he respects all of the army who are accompanying him. And Jamadagni makes all arrangements to care for them, to receive them nicely. He arranges nice foodstuffs and entertainment and comforts, and so everything necessary to satisfy his guests. And Kartavirya Arjuna is just amazed when he saw how one man, Jamadagni, could do all of these things. And how he was doing it, he had a Kamadhenu cow. And the Kamadhenu cow was able to supply everything. So Kartavirya Arjuna became very jealous. and he decided he wanted to have that cow. He wanted to have that Kamadhenu. But Jamadagni he didn't want to part with it. But this Kartavirya Arjuna, nobody would say no to him. And he took the cow away from Jamadagni. So this is Kartavirya Arjuna, he's very powerful. Naturally, he's very proud. And as the saying goes, pride comes before the fall. So Parasurama hears about how Kartavirya Arjuna had taken the Kamadhenu cow away from his father, and Parasurama became very angry. And he goes out after Kartavirya Arjuna, and he wants to get back the Kamadhenu cow. Nonetheless, an ordinary man may possess an ordinary cow. Prabhupada writes here in the purport. An ordinary man may possess an ordinary cow. Give protection to this animal. Take sufficient milk from it and engage the milk to produce butter and ghee, especially for performing Agnihotra Yagna. This is possible for everyone. And Prabhupada talks about how in the Western countries, in our ISKCON farms, the cows are giving nice milk. We're taking care of them nicely. The cows are happy and they're willing to give the milk. And so this was a situation. Prabhupada was very pleased to see the cows being nicely taken care of. And he was very happy also to drink the milk. Prabhupada would drink milk, he'd say, just by drinking milk, you get pious activities. Of course, nowadays you've got these people, they don't want to drink milk, and they say that it's sinful. Vegans, of course. And to some extent they're right, that the cows are not being properly treated, and we should be taking care of the cows. We should be keeping the cows happy. So we should learn from Krishna how to keep the cows happy. And people who want to eat cow's meat, they don't need to eat the meat of the cow. Let them eat other animals. Prabhupada says they can eat the flesh of unimportant animals, hogs, dogs, goats, and sheep, but they should not touch the life of the cow. This is destructive to the spiritual advancement of human society. So people have not learned these things, unfortunately. We do try to teach these things, and we try to show it by our own example, taking care of the cows, protecting the cows, and using the milk to produce wonderful foodstuffs. So they took away the cow, and Jamadagni goes after them, and he kills them. And he kills Kartavirya Arjuna, and he gets back the cow. So when he comes back, he explains to his father what happened. And Jamadagni, when he heard about it, then Jamadagni was not pleased. But he told Parasurama, he told his son, he said, you've killed a king. He said, the king is the representative of God on earth. He said, very sinful. He said, you have to learn the quality of forgiveness. All right? The quality of forgiveness is being stressed by Jamadagni. In the chapter, it describes just how many people Parasurama killed. It's described that Kartavirya Arjun had a huge army, and when Parasurama came after him, he sent his army out there to fight with Parasurama. And he had like 7 Akshahinis, 17 full Akshahinis of soldiers to check, 17 Akshahinis. And one Akshahini is described 21,870 chariots, chariots and elephants, 109,350 infantry soldiers, and 65,610 horses. That's one Akshahini, and 17 Akshahinis. And Parasurama killed all of them. So he brought back the cow. And his father explained to him that you have to cultivate the quality of forgiveness. Forgiveness is a very important quality. There's a nice description of the battle. You can read through it all. We're not going to go through it all here today, but it's described very in great detail how they fought. And Kartavirya Arjun had 1,000 arms and 500 bows and so many things. And Parasurama just cut them all to pieces. And he killed the enemy and brought back the Kamadina cow along with its calf and brought it back to his father. So Jamadagni then tells his son that you have unnecessarily killed the king, who is supposed to be the embodiment of all the demigods. Thus you have committed a sin. We are all Brahmanas and have become worshipable for the people in general because of our quality of forgiveness. It is because of this quality that Lord Brahma, the supreme spiritual master of this universe, has achieved his post. So forgiveness. Jamadagni is telling Parasurama that we have become worshipable for the people in general because of our quality of forgiveness. So this quality of forgiveness, this is certainly a very big challenge to us often sometimes in practicing our own spiritual life. We may not always be so willing to forgive people for the wrong which they do to us. And certainly these things happen. I thought it would be good that we can make a group. How many people are in the class today?
Around 23, Maharaj.
All right, so maybe we'll have groups of 4. So then will be 6 groups, 1 group of 3, and others 5 groups of 4. And I want you to discuss how can we cultivate this quality of forgiveness. You know, we have some, and I would like to know also some examples from scriptures, first of all, about forgiveness, of people who showed that quality of forgiveness, some examples, and from the modern times, from your own living experience, have you seen some examples of forgiveness or the lack of forgiveness, where there should have been forgiveness but there wasn't? Can you think of some examples? And then how can we cultivate that forgiveness? What do we need to do to develop that forgiving nature?
Ojasvi Prabhu, can you make the group? Maharaj, how much time do we have?
Already done.
Okay.
Yeah, well, let's see. If you divide the work up, I think you can do it in 10 minutes. Just divide the work up amongst the group members.
So every group present on all the three questions, Maharaj?
Yes?
Okay.
What was the third question, Mataji? Sorry, ma'am.
I've put it in WhatsApp, Mataji. So first is, how can we cultivate the quality of forgiveness? Examples from scripture and from modern times and from our own experience of forgiveness or lack of forgiveness.
Hare Krishna, is everyone back? Hare Krishna?
Yes.
Yeah, I think everyone's back now.
Participants 24.
Okay. So can we begin like group one? The spokesman can give us first the answer to the first question. Let's hear different things in the scriptures where we have examples of forgiveness.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, and my humble obeisances to all. Maharaj, I am very sorry. Please forgive me. I don't remember I was in which group. I think I was in group one. I'm not sure. Radharaman Prabhu, we were in group one. Okay. Maharaj, so my humble obeisances to all of you. We had Radharaman Prabhu, we had Bimla Prasad Prabhu, Anandalal Prabhu, and Maharaj himself was there in our group. I'm so fortunate to have your association yesterday and today also, Maharaj. So, Maharaj, a few examples in the scriptures that we discussed was Draupadi Maharani who forgave Ashwathama. Then Lord Nityananda forgave Jagai Madhai. Prahlad Maharaj forgave Hiranyakashipu. Amrish Maharaj forgave Durvasa Muni, and Dhruv Maharaj forgave Rakshas. So these were the examples we discussed. Pardon me?
If you say all the point, what we will say? You say one point so that rest can also say Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, what do I do? Do I speak further? Like you were there throughout the discussion. Advise Maharaj, please suggest what should I do?
Okay, let's hear from the other groups. Let's hear, do you have some other points, other examples from the scriptures of forgiveness, which Maharaji didn't mention?
Hare Krishna Maharaj and Pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada. We are from group 2. We have Antarani Tulsi Mataji, Divishri Mataji, Rasmaya, Rasmaya Mataji, and Murti Shri Mataji. So we discussed about how can we cultivate the quality of forgiveness. So the first thing is that we have to see beyond the body.
No, we're just on the first question. I just wanted to know about examples from the scriptures about forgiveness.
Examples are Draupadi. Krishna forgave Shishpal for 100 mistakes, and Ramachandra Prabhu was willing to forgive Ravanasur also in the end. And Srila Haridas Thakur was praying for the people who beat him in the 21 marketplaces. And Jesus Christ forgiving. There was a story in Amish recently. In this modern age, Amish community, one of the child was shot in one of the school shooting, and the whole community came together, offered prayers, and then they invited the person who shot, the family and the person who shot, and then they forgave him publicly. They did not press charges, and that was a very talk of the town that time. How great the Amish people were in that trait, in that virtue. So these were all the examples we got, Maharaj.
Okay, yeah, good. Nice ones, yes. Haridas Thakur, Lord Jesus Christ, yes. Very good. Yeah, okay, let's hear other groups. Group 3, 4.
Extra, Maharaj. Yeah, this is group 3. Group 3 had Amala Manjari Mataji, Jai Dagvi, Ojasvi Mataji, and Radha. So in addition to all the points which were mentioned, a couple of recent examples we could think of is, one is Nelson Mandela. When he got released from the prison, he forgave all the people who had troubled him, who had under the apartheid which they had to go through. That's one example we thought. Srila Prabhupada, he excused time and again when immature disciples in various forms, they didn't recognize the greatness of Srila Prabhupada and tried to give instruction, the classic instruction of somebody telling Srila Prabhupada, go and chant, why do you get angry? That was one instance. The case of Mother Teresa, in spite of all the things which she went through, she completely inculcated the culture of being forgiven to everybody and serve the community as a whole. That's something which we spoke about. I don't know whether this example was mentioned of Lord Krishna also forgiving Shishpala, of course, with a limit of up to 100 times that any offense till that point of time, I excuse you. And the other examples like Ambarish Maharaj forgiving Durvasa Muni, the other examples were anyway mentioned, Maharaj. So these were some of the distinct ones which we discussed. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you. Yes, and another group is there?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I'm from group 4. So in our group, we have Sundari Gopi Mataji, Amrita Mataji, and Mani Mukunda Prabhu. So from Purana's scripture, we have Pasatya, how they forgave. Krishna, for example, forgave Indra many times, even Lord Brahma. And also Lord Ram forgave Kaikeyi. And also Mata mentioned how Draupadi forgave Ashwatthama, and another how Jesus Christ, even the Bible forgave the lady who committed adultery, and the Lord mentioned that one should hate the sin, not the sinner. So these are examples, Maharaj.
Yeah, I didn't hear. Okay, yeah, yes, some. Lord Ramachandra forgive Kaikeyi, was it you said?
Yes.
Okay.
There's one more example where the Nagapatnis, they ask Krishna to forgive Kaliya. The offenses what he's committed against the Vrajavasis.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. I never heard that one before. Right. There's one example in the third canto about Parasara, father of Vyasadeva. He was told to be forgiving, and he cultivated. In the third canto, it tells Parasara's father was killed, and so he started to do a yagya, and he wanted to kill all the demons because some demon had killed his father and devoured his body, eaten his body. So Parasara Muni wanted to do a yagya to kill all the demons, but he was approached by Vashishta, and Vashishta told him that this is not a very good idea, that you have to understand the nature of the demons. They do these things, and you can't just wipe them out, all of them. One demon killed your father, you want to kill all of them. He said, you're a Brahmana, you should have the quality of forgiving, quality of forgiveness. You have to show the Brahmanical nature. And so Parasara Muni, because it was Vashishta telling him, he took the instruction seriously, and he stopped the yagya. And when he stopped the yagya, then the Lord of the creator of the demons, is Pulaya, he so much appreciated the forgiving nature of Parasara Muni. He saw that, oh, he's actually forgiving us. And he was so pleased, he gave a blessing. He gave a blessing to Parasara that he would be a great preacher, that he would preach spiritual knowledge, because he had showed the quality of forgiveness. So this quality of forgiveness comes up again and again in the scriptures. Of course, especially in the first canto, the example is there of Draupadi, and how she was forgiving Ashwatthama, who had killed all of her 5 sons, but she was forgiving him.
Maharaj, also there's the pastime of Janamejaya. He was told to stop the yagya where he had started the yagna to kill Takshaka, who had bitten his father. So
Yes,
he was
right.
also told.
That's
We
all.
have one more group left, group number 5.
Okay.
Also, Hare Krishna Maharaj pronounced all the devotees. We also have mentioned many of the points which we have told by other Vaishnavas here. So we are from group number 5. We are consist of Jai Govinda Prabhu, Rasamai Prabhu, Rasamai Nityananda Prabhu, Leelamai Mataji, Ratha Murti Mataji, and my humble self, Adichandra Govindas. Maharaj, we had also a few points like Nityananda Prabhu was mercifully forgave Jagai and Mathai. Then and actually, Parikshit Maharaj also, after receiving the curse from Shrinki, he had the right to revert to him, but he did not react. He did not react to that, but he accepted that curse, and he in a case like even similarly, Lord Ramachandra Prabhu, Lord Ramachandra, when he heard that he was when somebody is insulting his wife Sita Mai, saying that she was pregnant while coming back. Now that insult also, he could have reacted. He had the right to react to those citizens, but he did not react, and he was. That's also, can that be considered as a forgiving them? Maharaj, what is your saying? And recently also we have one recent incident that in India there is a big bomb blast had happened, killing I think that then former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. His family members forgave the murderers. The lady was captivated and she was sentenced to death, but the family later on said that no need to kill them. They can be relieved from the jail. This is also a recent incident which had happened in India. So these are our points, Maharaj, for in this connection. Yeah, sorry. One more point was Maharaj. One more point was given by our Jai Govinda Prabhu that Avanti Brahmana has forgave the people who insulted him after becoming. He was a rich person. Later on, when he became poor and he started begging. So many people insulting him when he was about to eat the food, somebody has urinated into that. But he accepted that as understanding the scripture that mana parama karana. So everything is cause of the mind and the karma, what I have performed. So he accepted it and then he forgave everybody. This is the point given by Jai Govinda Prabhu.
Okay, very interesting. The Avanti Brahmana, his quality of forgiveness, how people abused him. So maybe you could tell us then, how could we cultivate this quality of forgiveness?
Yeah, Maharaj, actually this is understanding that why because when somebody insults us or when somebody does reverse things, Srila Prabhupada had beautifully mentioned in one of his Krishna book that the real identity of a person is revealed by seeing his reaction to the provoking situation. So
Who said this?
Srila Prabhupada said this in Krishna book. It is that.
Okay.
So by seeing his reaction to the provoking situation, when the situation is fine, we all are the best people in the world. But when the reverse situation comes, so how to handle that is by understanding that reversals are coming into my life is nothing but because of my own action. So nobody is responsible for that other than me. Understanding this philosophy can help us in cultivating the forgiveness quality, Maharaj. This is what our understanding. And same way, even what Avanti Brahmana was also realized. So later on, he realized that, this is the wordings, it is written, given by Jai Govinda Prabhu, that mana parama karana. So our mind is the main reason, and our actions are also equally cause of all these reversals in our life. So understanding this philosophy could be theoretically easy, but understanding it's in reality, we can develop the quality of forgiveness that we are only the cause. Because if somebody, I just want to say one example that it was not discussed in our point, but just now it came in my mind when I heard in one of the lecture from one Prabhu, that when you're eating a delicious prasadam, if you bite your tongue, whom you're going to blame? So it's nobody else other than you yourself. So you'll blame the person who cooked it, you'll blame a person who served it, or you yourself, because nobody is the reason. You are the cause of that. So same incident, same can be adopted or seen in that perception. So that can will help us to cultivate that quality of forgiveness. That's our humble suggestion, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
So you're saying we should simply just see we're the cause of all the difficulties which come on us. Don't blame other people.
That's right, Maharaj. That's
So
right.
there's nobody to forgive because we ourselves are responsible for what happened to us.
Yes.
Okay.
Maharaj, I had a question regarding this approach. I mean, it's very nice that, we should accept it as our own karmas. But won't it become so negative, that because we by nature, always thinking that, always I am only the problem. I am only the problem. Always I am the problem. So I will get frustrated. I mean, I'm not that type. So you want to say something about it because you have much more experience than we all have.
Yeah, definitely. Every situation like that, you could become quite.
Depressed and negative.
Yeah. You could feel, I'm so hopeless. I'm so disqualified. I can't do anything. You certainly wouldn't have much faith in your own self. It'd be difficult to be enthusiastic to perform devotional service. Anyway, certainly.
When it comes to the devotional service aspect, definitely we'll realize that, of course, Bhakti has the quality of kleshakna. That means last day, we are understanding that kleshagni. It's not kleshagni. It is last week when we heard from Amarendra Prabhu, he said it's kleshakna. That means it has the quality of burning or destroying the kleshas, whatever has happened. So what I meant to say is, it is not that everything we have to accept in that way, but by our future actions that can be refuted, rather in the sense that Bhakti has the capacity to take us out of all the karmic reaction. So doesn't mean that we have to be negative or pessimistic approach to the life. No, it's a better understanding of the life rather than blaming others. So because if we are, as I said, the example, biting the tongue, nobody is to blame. Similarly, we are biting our own tongue or because of the karmic reaction, whatever we have performed previously, and we are bringing it as of now currently. But of course, in future, that is what everything we are learning from Bhagavad Gita is, out of the 5 subjects in Bhagavad Gita, only one is changeable. This Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala. We cannot do anything for these four subjects, but karma is in our hand. That is the importance of the whole Bhagavad Gita comes there, that how to react or act in different situations, in what context and what mode, which mode to be applied. Now, this is what has been taught in entire Bhagavad Gita, how to perform our karma. So karma is a main important thing in our life. So this is only one aspect that we can change also. So then how to do the future actions? By dedicating everything at the lotus feet of Krishna. So everything can be changed. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Well, I would say, I thought we were devotees. I thought we didn't have karma, like we take up Krishna consciousness. Where's the karma, We're all supposed to be doing devotional service, so we can't, I thought there was no karma for the devotee.
Maharaj, I have...
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu.
Maharaj, I have an interesting question in that sense, what Ati Chandra Prabhu said. So the point is, we are discussing forgiveness and we're discussing these qualities. So if I'm forgiving, why would I want anything to change anyways? Change it for the better. It's like if I'm forgiving, so it's like it's kind of an antithesis of that. Like I want to things to change for the better. I want to change the things for the better. That was the question of forgiving something. The situation is favorable. There is no question of forgiving. Forgiving means that in adverse circumstance, because it's like just the same thing what actually Sundari Gopi Maji said. So, as I understand, like when we are talking about either of forgiving or not able to tolerate, actually, it all requires different modes of nature. So, like if somebody is forgiving, and as a result of that, if he's taking all the responsibility, okay, I am the one to blame it all on me. That is tamasic, actually. So nobody can be happy in tamogun. I take all the blame. I share all the blame, and the idea behind that sharing all the blame is basically is coming from the platform of tamogun, not satgun, which is knowledge. I'm taking the blame because I understand where the blame is apportioned. So not that like nobody else is to be blamed. So that I take all the blame, and then I become pessimistic because pessimism again part of the tamogun. So it's just like there's no question of like having tamogun and then looking for happiness, looking for anything higher. And on the other side, what Ati Chandra Prabhu is saying, like, okay, forgiving, just forgive everything, and you forgive everything. And within that forgiveness, if there is no sattva gun, at least from our side, that's like, okay, fine. Like if there are like, it's a very, very good, like he's like talking about one example, like biting the tongue. I say I'm surrounded by four gundas. What is the best option for me? Forgive them now? Of course, I will forgive them as there's no chance, right? So that's not forgiveness, that's compromise. So forgiveness is coming from the platform of strength. And the platform of strength is coming only when we have got the more sattva gun, the more transcendence even we have, then we can claim to be forgiving. So otherwise, it's like different forms of opportunism, somebody resigning all to fate and surrendering. Either it's like surrendering to the circumstance and covering it up as forgiveness. It's just like that. So then I understand it's a very strong quality actually. Forgiveness is a very, very strong quality that comes after years of practice of Krishna consciousness.
Yes, Maharaj, sorry for that. I just wanted to say one thing that I think my statement has been taken wrongly. It is like they just understood wrongly. Probably my presentation was not correct. What pessimism I said is because I was answering to Sundari Mataji's question. That's why I just used the word of pessimism. The thing what I said is not at all in a pessimistic way. What I meant is, and Prabhu rightly said, if there's a knowledge, there cannot be tamasaguna. Prabhu said both together. If it's a knowledge and tamoguna, he said together. So I don't think where knowledge is there cannot be tamoguna. So if you are in the right, if you are in the knowledge, I said this, a knowledge that okay, you are the cause of all the actions. I'm not saying in the tamoguna way or taking everything blame. No, I said to cultivate the forgiveness, the quality of forgiveness. This knowledge is required. This was my statement. To cultivate the knowledge, the quality of forgiveness, you should have the knowledge of understanding that the suffering, the cause of suffering is none other than you yourself. This knowledge will, this is what I said. There's no pessimism. There's nothing that all the blames or no gundas, that is, I think what I said has been taken.
There's another way of looking at it.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is my point, what I wanted to say. Just want to clarify that. Correct.
Maharaj, can I add a few points to this?
Yeah, please.
Maharaj, when we are in such a situation, we can always take help from our seniors. We can say what is our situation, and then they would help us. So especially, it's not that everything we need to take the blame or then feel pessimistic about. Not necessary. But if we are going through such a situation, our seniors, when we tell them what's the situation, they will guide us. So that's what is my take, Maharaj.
So you have to have faith in your seniors.
Yeah, we have to have faith somebody. Otherwise, if we don't have faith, then there's no happiness in this life or in the next life also. For a doubting soul, there's no happiness either in this life or the next life.
And you have to be willing to come to ask for their help,
Yes.
how to see this.
Yeah, if you want to get out of the situation, if you want to continue our devotional service, yeah, that's the best way.
But the forgiveness, that you're saying we want to be forgiving, or we want someone to forgive us.
Either way, Maharaj, both ways.
Oh.
So Maharaj, I was thinking about that, I mean, I have told a group also that if we are so much concentrated in our Krishna conscious sadhana and all, we will not take the offense in the first place. Like Krishna, he never could see anything negative in any person. So if we are like, if I'm always so much practicing my Krishna consciousness that, okay, I mean, these acharyas did this great personality did this. So, always that thing is churning. And even if somebody, kicks and goes, I mean, I'm so busy in my, I'm relishing the Krishna consciousness, then I would not even understand that somebody really did something, because, sometimes people are, even especially women, this Mataji did not smile at me, she did not do this to me, then, they feel offended. So, but when you're, focused in your Krishna consciousness, so busy with your services, where there is a time to think that, somebody did something to me. So then there is no question of forgiveness because you didn't realize that somebody did actually something. So this is what I'm saying. Even, there's a question of this gundas. So I mean, I have heard of some devotees. One person entered his house, and in his house there were some people who were robbers. And he must be some, I mean, really Krishna conscious. And he said, Jai Nrsimhadev! And the thieves got scared and they ran away. But because, he had faith in something. And he just yelled. See, if you show that I can fight more stronger than you, then they feel weak. So my point is, we should be so absorbed that, we don't realize that something did some silly thing, that is really silly actually. Like, small children fighting, oh, he did this or he did that. So this is my understanding about, forgiveness. That I like Shastras, we should be so absorbed in something in our Krishna consciousness, in the 9 processes of devotions. Some people are kirtaniyas, they're so much busy in their kirtan only. Oh, somebody did something, okay, I have this kirtan, I have to go sing there, and then I will use this tune, that tune, and I want to, so, some people like to dress up deities. I will do this, I will buy this cloth. Where is the time to think that, somebody did something? I'm sorry, Balaji, you're like...
Yeah, you're right. Actually, it's the really the thought of having to being forgiven. It's in the mind, that we have this problem that is in our mind that we are thinking somebody did something wrong to us. But if we're fully busy, if we're fully engaged in Krishna consciousness, as you say, we'll be oblivious to all that. It won't bother us at all.
So now this coursework also is for another 1 more week after this, and then I will get relaxed, and then I will remember all this. Somebody did something. So best is to always keep doing what we are, attracted in Krishna consciousness. Then there is no time. Empty mind is devil's workshop. My mind,
Yeah.
especially, we keep calling all nonsense. So
Exactly,
my
yeah.
take home on this.
The
Krishna
point
Maharaj,
what Mataji
can I
the point
add
Mataji
one?
said is, can I Mercy 1 second? I'll just
Yeah, go
had
ahead,
to
yeah.
add one point to that. So this is actually a very good option what Mataji has said, but in reality, many times our mind is idle. We are not always in Krishna consciousness. On a best way, best possible time, it is the best way. But I just want to add one more point that when somebody asked His Holiness Radhanatha Swami Maharaj that how you developed this quality, he did not say engaging in Krishna consciousness. He did not say engage by chanting holy name. He said by practice. He said by practice I developed this quality. Unless and until you develop this quality by practice, you cannot bring it, because what all the points when said even what which the previous Mataji, Rasmai Mataji, who was that? I don't remember who Mataji was said. Mataji said one point that we'll consult with the devotees. 90% of our forgiveness has to happen on instant basis. 90% our patience or our forgiveness has to happen when an argument happens immediately. Will you be able to call a devotee and ask consultancy? No. We have to give it immediately. Okay, there will be 10% will be there.
Because it does not happen, because as you said, practice, because it does not happen, then this is no other option. Otherwise, we'll have to be living with it. But then if you are living with it, then where are we going to be Krishna conscious? So at least at that time, if not now, till we practice, until we become, as you said, as it's a path of perfection.
So
Yes.
it's
Practice
it
what I
takes time.
suggest is when I take a commitment, sometimes I'm not a perfect person. I also definitely don't have patience. I'm a last person to have some patience. I'm very, very arrogant and everything. What I tell my class is, let us take from today till next class. Let us take a promise that we will not argue, we will not become angry, or we will not say any bad word, or I will not use any harsh words to anybody. So like that, 1 week, 2 days, 1 week, this is a practice what His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj has suggested. So probably, I don't know, I'll try to do something like that. Please, give me strength for that. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Maharaj,
Yes,
I just want
Mataji,
to
go ahead.
add, I just want to add that I think we need to apply time plus circumstance factor, because if it is for personal development, right? Yes, we should forgive. But if I am in a leader position, or if I am a Bhakti leader, if I am a spiritual master, then my responsibilities towards the person who offended is more than just forgive, right? We have to if we are in that position, then it is our responsibility to correct the subordinate, so that they walk in the proper path. We cannot just ignore and move on. I think that is one thing I wanted to say. But for our personal application, yes, we should be more tolerant, we should be forgiving. Srila Prabhupada is like a thunderbolt, but he's soft as rose, right? He has exhibited both qualities according to time plus circumstance. So I think we should learn from him that part. So that's what I wanted to share. That's all.
But
Yes, very nice. I
Maharaj, I
appreciate
just
that.
I can just add one more point, Maharaj, because this got discussed in our group also. We may not be able to look at being forgiving in its own individual perspective. I mean, it's just not, you can't look at it. You have to bring in the aspect of how tolerant one is. Because higher the level of tolerance one has, the more the chance that one may be forgiving in a particular situation. We took up two situations. One is how a guru is highly tolerant. He understands that when a new disciple comes under his care, he is so aware of the situation he is going through. So even in spite of all the mistakes he doesn't take any offense at all. He forgives him at all points of time. So how does it come? Because he has a tolerance level. He is at that level of maturity. Or a mother who is highly tolerant of the child also, even if the child urinates on the mother's body or on her lap, she doesn't mind at all. She's ever forgiving. That comes purely because of the attachment and the forgiving nature. I mean, the tolerance limit which she has. So I think higher the level of one's ability to tolerate a situation, the more the chance that one is forgiving. One cannot be low on one and be highly forgiving. It's too much to expect or connect these two ends. So that's also something which is a high dependency which we need to look at. And I thought that brings a different perspective altogether.
Okay. Yeah, we have to be tolerant, but there has to be a balance, right? How much we can what is reasonable.
Maharaj, I was just on the point of what Atichandra Prabhu was saying, and even Bhakti Priya Mataji, it seemed to be like they are very very relevant in the sense that after all we are discussing all of this because we are all practicing. So if there is if we are already finished products, if we are already like Bhagavatas, we possibly won't be discussing those things because it doesn't matter at that point in time. It's like as Rasamai Mataji was talking, because there were so many ifs. And if this is like this, if this is like that, that's the point. That is the big if. Like since we are practicing, so we have to be mindful of all these other things which Achichandra Prabhu is talking about, even Bhakti Priyamaji, like your position, your stand is where you sit. Like for my own sake, I will be tolerating, but if I'm in a position of responsibility, that I possibly do not have the luxury of tolerating nonsense. So at that time, as Maji said, soft as rose and strong as a thunderbolt, these are all with that kind of judgment comes from experience, comes from sadhana, as Atichandra Prabhu said, the answer is practice. So he's quoting Radhanath Maharaj, the answer is practice. So the more we practice, gradually we come to that. And then we can have the liberty or the luxury of talking about one day when we are there really as in the stage of Baba and above, then we can be like above all that. But before that, until that time, the practice is there, and all these things have to be taken into account.
Okay, yes, very nice. We appreciate that. Many different points from different devotees. You're all presenting very valid points, very good arguments. Knowledge certainly helps to understand what is proper behavior. Practice, of course, is also important. We have to practice controlling the mind. And we need proper engagement also. Proper engagement, keep ourselves busy. The idle mind is the devil. So being engaged, that certainly helps us to be more appreciative of others. The harder we work, then the more we can appreciate other people who are also working. So many people making great efforts to do things. All right, is there anybody else who wanted to add some points on this, about developing this quality of forgiveness?
Hare Krishna
Maharaj,
Maharaj.
sorry.
This is
Yeah, okay.
Murti Sri.
Yeah.
That is, Krishna wants us to be powerful. He always wants us to remember him. And this remembrance gives us power. It makes us powerful. And we can give this pure devotees, like Prahlad Maharaj. He was so forgiving. And then in the stage of ecstasy, Bharat Maharaj, who was Jara Bharat, he was so forgiving. So we have examples, and Krishna wants us to develop that. So this in the lower stages, we find that, okay, we have to forgive this, that. So many things, it comes to our mind, but when the mind matures, automatically you forgive. And you are so powerful that it feels that somebody is hurting me, but it's like a pinch, or maybe it's nothing. So when we become powerful, like pure devotees, then you are already forgiven. Something forgiven. And when you feel more like, okay, Krishna is giving me this pen, then when you love Krishna, there's no problem. You can ask him, why is it things are like this? So
Yeah, we could say there's nothing to forgive,
so there's nothing left. So we can always ask Krishna why these things are going on like this. So he'll explain you. So no problem.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, Prabhu.
Anandulal Maharaj, this tolerant forgiveness, according to the like Prahlad, they give an example, all the great devotees. It is special soul. They can make it forgiveness very easily because they're special for that way. Got blessing from the Lord. Like our ordinary soul, this also my experience and opinion, like each playing the playing part also. When we get old, we will automatically tolerance and humble will be more than the young age. Young age we have a hot blood. When we are old, like me, going 65 now, my self is not like those time. Now I be more humble, tolerate, forgiveness, because we know that even we are not deep in the devotional, we understand little, at least devotional service. We can understand this age also playing the part in our bodies for the tolerance and forgiveness. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Yes, I can appreciate that. The young people, they have a lot of ego. They can be very sensitive, and they get really upset, and you can quarrel with them. But as we get a bit older, certainly with old age, we become more easygoing and not so easy to offend us. We become more tolerant.
Yes.
We're not affected so much by things. So many people may say bad things. We just, oh, you don't worry about it. Prabhupada would say the dogs may bark, but the camel drive goes on. The dogs may bark, but the camel drive goes. The camels don't worry about the dogs, you know.
Yes.
And so, like that, you know, Krishna consciousness goes. People can get angry and they can offend, but they can try to offend. And the more we're in the bodily concept of life, then the more we will be offended. But if we're not in the bodily concept of life, then we won't be offended. There will be nothing to forgive. All right, some more people. There's some few. Yes.
Maharaj? Yeah,
Yes.
please accept my Maharaj. Maharaj, continuing the discussions, we had a very good discussion so far. Maharaj, just basically two things, we should understand, where which will help us to develop this quality of forgiveness. Maharaj, we being the sadhakas, the first and foremost thing is, we are the eternal servant of Krishna. And the second point is, Maharaj, it is like Krishna is in full control of every situation and everything. And Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, he is the Sarva Karana Karanam. So everything he is under the control. So if some situation happens to us, though we should understand it's all happening by the Krishna's mercy. So nothing I could do it. So instead of just defending or fighting it back, just accept as the Krishna's mercy and go ahead. This will help us, and later, I mean, if we are not fault, then literally the person who has, like if we cultivate this quality of forgiveness, naturally other people will realize maybe a little later, and they will come back to us and they will ask the forgiveness from us, Maharaj. This is what I thought to say.
Well, what about the fact if somebody is as we heard earlier, one of the devotees was saying, you may be in a responsible position. So it's your duty to correct the behavior or to correct the incident which happened. Maybe it was not done properly, the etiquette was not properly observed. Isn't it the duty of someone who is in a leadership role that they should do something about it and not just tolerate?
Yeah. So if they're in the leadership position, Maharaj, yes, certainly. Like for example, Guru is, his duty is to guide his disciples, then similarly the leaders, they have the full responsibility. Of course, we see in our day-to-day affair also, if we make some, if the thing, something goes in wrong way, our leaders will chastise us, but we understand, it's our mistake, so they are rectifying it. So in that way, there is no point in getting into this. I mean, I'm talking about if something happens to us on individual level. So this is how we can cultivate this quality of forgiveness, Maharaj.
Okay. Yes. I think also that the correction should be done in a loving manner, in a caring manner. We want to encourage people. Correcting people doesn't mean pulling them down, but it just means giving them the proper guidance, the proper instruction. We want to encourage everyone in their devotional service. We understand everyone's volunteering, giving their offering service to Krishna, and we want to encourage them. Okay, thank you. Yes? Any other people still got comments here?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Antaranga Tulasi Devi Dasi here. Maharaj, one point I wanted to add was about forgiving, like how to cultivate the forgiveness. Was one thing every time I feel like, okay, this mistake has happened, I take it to heart. At that time, I think it's better that we spend little time and think from the other person's perspective also. So that one small thing, if we try to do, then that can, I think, at least 50% of the issues can be sorted. before taking to the senior or before making it an issue. Just 1 minute or 2 minutes of thinking from the other person's perspective also.
Think of things about, if you were in the other person's shoes, think about how they must feel. Well, that's a bit difficult to do, you know. I mean, that's, that could be pretty hard to do, you know. I don't know. Anybody? That would be a challenge, I think, to ask people to do that, to put yourself in the other person's position. Okay. Anyway, let's see.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj. Just to answer your question which you just raised, how do you look at the other person's perspective? There was an example which was thrown in our group that in a particular class, Bhagavatam class happening, one particular person was along with the children and the kids were creating a lot of ruckus over there. Everybody was taking real exception and they were feeling offended. But then when they tried to put themselves in that person's shoes, they realized that that person had recently lost his wife and the young children were left all to himself. So he was trying to still serve the Lord with those kids around. So when you, without that knowledge, you would not have empathized with that person. But with that renewed knowledge of you being in that position, still trying to serve, I think it gives a different perspective altogether. That's one example which was mentioned. I just would like to add one more aspect to how we can try to forgive others. The point which was raised is, if I were to die tomorrow, would I still want to carry this grudge against this person, and would I still want to not excuse this person? That's the situation we can think of, and of course, it calls for some time off to think the situation and then react. But that's one other thought which came up. And the last point I would like to say is, you asked the question as to when one is in position of responsibility. There is a very thin line which is drawn between whether you are offending that person by raising an issue or whether you are forgiving in nature. Within our center over here, I take the responsibility of managing the funds and finance and accounts for the temple. There are strict rules to guard the money of the Supreme Lord. So anything which is going out of the process, I make it a point to raise the issue. But time and again, it is my seniors do indicate to me that I'm crossing the line in terms of being too process oriented. But sometimes the person is not respecting the process to such an extent that you have no alternative but to raise the noise. And beyond a point, if things are not going, then I would go and consult my seniors and ask their advice as to how to still resolve the situation. Because there is no point in forgiving a person if he's still flouting the rules laid out within the system, because that's exactly what Srila Prabhupada wanted us to do. So that's where this forgiving nature, it gets questioned as to whether we should forgive and accept mediocrity or whether we should, still follow the process. That's the quandary one goes through.
Yeah, there are many pros and cons in every issue, isn't it? Becomes very complex. How much we can rules and regulations, and how much we can tolerate, how much we should follow. So, okay, so anyway, it's been a very enlivening discussion, very many different points and different angles of view from all of you. And I'm not clear myself exactly how to cultivate this quality of forgiveness, but we certainly know that what it means to forgive, to let bygones be bygones. What's happened. And I like to point, the devotee who said, the first speaker, he said, we're the doer, we ourselves are responsible. The difficulties which come, we must have done something to deserve it. And Srila Prabhupada would sometimes take that, that I must have done something to offend them, that they're like this. Anyway, forgiveness is certainly a saintly quality, and it's something we have to work on. As we heard, practice. Krishna says, Arjuna said couldn't control the mind. Krishna said, abhyasena chukontiya. So practice is very important. And detachment from our physical body also. put ourselves and more on the, bring ourselves more to the spiritual platform. Don't be offended about the body. Okay, so we'll stop here tonight. Thank you very much for your participation. We'll be back tomorrow. Okay, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Jai.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you.
Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much,
Hare
Maharaj. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.